Eiyuden Chronicle's 100 Heroes will officially be launching onto the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation consoles, Xbox, and PC on April 23rd of 2024. And today we're going to be going over the fact that the developers just recently confirmed that a brand new mini game, or specifically a card game as part of the mini game setup, will be available when the game launches. It will be directly integrated into the experience, so essentially it's gonna be something that not only will it give you some type of achievements if you're playing it on the console like PlayStation and Xbox and even on PC, but of course you'll be able to get better rewards and, more importantly, maybe even recruit some of the characters based off of your record of the card minigame that will be available. To say that Eiyuden Chronicles has been getting a lot of exposure as of late would be an understatement, since plenty of brand new details have started to release as we get closer to the launch on next April. I recently covered a 10 brand new features video, which I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below, and also a closer look at brand new bosses that we ended up getting information on as well. But today, basically, the director Osamu Komuta basically provided us with some information regarding the mini game that will be as part of this entire experience in the form of a card game. And it needs to be said that it will have deck building aspects to the entire experience. Essentially, he noted that the card game will involve players trying to defend 3 separate positions on a board using a hand of cards. Each of the 3 positions has a place to play a card, and the strength of each of the positions will be decided by the sum of the 3 cards scored values. So essentially they all tally up, and that's your total defense. They also mentioned that some of the cards will feature additional abilities that will affect the scores of each player card. So some of the special more unique cards, like featuring actual characters that you will be able to recruit into the game, and they are important characters within the story themselves, will be part of the playable card set as well. The Hildy card, for example, will add a 3 bonus of strength whenever each one of those cards is played, but that's just one example of many different variations of those cards. Other cards will also apply bonuses depending on the color combination, so there will be some sort of elemental bonuses attached strategies alongside that as well, while others can take points away from your opponent, so there will be debuffer type cards. Again, this all needs to be seen in motion, but ultimately it sounds like a relatively straight up traditional experience. Elements of deck building will also be part of the minigames, where players will be able to buy cards and packs in game stores and customize their decks to improve their tactics. So you won't have to do like pay to win or pay to play or anything along those lines. In-game currency will be more than enough to be able to buy packs. I'm sure they'll have some sort of rarity tied to it, and some of the cards will most likely end up being rewards specifically for quests, maybe recruiting a certain character, certainly meeting a certain goal, or something along those lines. Although it bears to be mentioned that as of right now, in their blog update, they do not confirm if any specific in-game events will net you certain cards, or recruiting a certain character will net you their card as well. So, you know, it is interesting to see just what kind of a breadth of an approach they're going to have, but it is worth noting that there will be multiple mini games attached to Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes when it originally launches, because just a few months ago, back at Tokyo Game Show earlier in 2023, we did end up getting a closer look at the fishing mini game as well. So, of course, traditional RPGs, all of them have some sort of fishing mini game, but this one will have a fully fledged card game as well, with doesn't necessarily surprise us, since popular games going all the way back to like traditional Final Fantasy 9, I want to say, had a card game within it, and it did extremely well. Sea of Stars recently, I believe, had another mini game that a lot of players were having a lot of fun with as well. Another thing that they mention is that not only the same color based on elemental variations will boost each other up, but if characters are actually friendly within the game world themselves, they will receive bonuses as being part of a deck where other friend characters are also part of their deck, of the same deck, and they are basically being used together. So there is some synchronizational bonuses there attached to that as well. The last thing that they mention is that the game will continually grow as you are exploring through the game experience. Essentially, more and more powerful enemies and more different deck variations will become available as you progress through the story. That's not much of a surprise. That's kind of highly expected, but it is worth mentioning since they do specifically mention it in their blog update. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for their latest update where they provided us with some of this information in English, but the ultimate majority of it has been basically confirmed through their Japanese translated assets. It is worth mentioning though as well that they did confirm that the standard version of the game will have different rewards than the digital deluxe and backer rewards as well. Remember that this game was officially backed through multiple Kickstarter goals. I believe that they were definitely met, and the digital deluxe version of the game will have some extra rewards that backers will not be able to get, interestingly enough, but at the same time the standard version of the game will receive those as well. I'm going to try to overlay that image that they provided in the blog update because I do think it is important to note that some of those rewards may not kind of go alongside with what some players were hoping, which was essentially getting all of the rewards if they back the game to be able to get all of the rewards, since essentially the game will be releasing physically and digitally, of course, through different storefronts, and they were kind of hoping to be able to get all the rewards since they did back the game originally, but it does not necessarily seem to be the case. For me personally, I can tell you that I cannot wait to be able to get my hands on this title. I certainly had a lot of fun with the first one that came out, although it was a side-scrolling kind of like action platformer type of thing. I wasn't too into it at the end of the day, but I did review it. I think I ultimately gave it a favorable review, and Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes does look to be more closer to what I really want it to be, which is essentially Suikoden. And speaking about Suikoden, essentially after that game was delayed into 2024, a lot of players have kind of been, I want to say, having conspiracy theories that Konami might be trying to launch Suikoden around the same time the Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Hero drops, just so they can kind of like undercut it or something along those lines. I don't particularly agree with that mentality. If Konami were to try to do that, I don't think they're going to be doing themselves much of a service due to the fact that a lot of players are kind of done with Konami. They're not too happy with what they're trying to do, especially after the whole Metal Gear situation that's been happening recently with those ports of remasters. And ultimately, maybe just leave Suikoden out of that if we have some sort of pity or anger situation going on with the publishers and developers of Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes, which once again is launching on April 23rd of next year on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and on PC via Steam. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya!